you ready to tell him?
It is happening again. It is happening again.
That's why you always wear the same clothes every day. You ain't got no new outfit every motherfucking day. You wear the same thing, so shut the fuck up. You got nothing to say. You ain't gonna say nothing. Say to my motherfucking face.
Oh God!
He was frequently bullied in school because he had a stutter and a lisp. He was also mocked for his clothing selections and being poor. His classmates would call him names, including school shooter.
They are known as assault-style weapons and have been used in some of the country's deadliest shootings. From Uvalde, Tulsa, and El Paso to Parkland, San Bernardino, and Sandy Hook, the high-powered assault rifle has been the weapon of choice for many of the killers.
Line is hot.
The Los Angeles Police Department demonstrates an AR-style semi-automatic rifle for us on the department's gun range.
You have a 16-inch to 20-inch barrel. You have a stock that is shouldered. You're going to be accurate at farther distances as opposed to a pistol.
Not to mention, like some other weapons, it can fire a bullet with enough power to pierce soft body armor, something Sergeant James Zaborovan knows firsthand.
Oh, Jesus. It's definitely an automatic weapon.
He took assault weapons fire during the now infamous 1997 North Hollywood shootout, where 2 bank robbers wearing body armor fired on police for nearly an hour. That shooting changed policy, prompting the LAPD and other departments to upgrade their own weaponry to counter the increasingly powerful guns used by assailants. That firepower from weapons is studied inside a ballistics lab at Wayne State University, where researchers simulate a bullet's impact on the human body.
It's a block of 20% gelatin, and it's meant to represent the human tissues, so soft tissues.
Watch as Cynthia Burr's team fires a handgun round at 1,000 feet per second into the gelatin block.
For this particular round, you'll see the bullet come in on this side. You see this temporary cavity here happening. So that expansion is what happens in the body, and then it collapses down. So that's where your damage comes in.
Now watch as the team fires a round from an assault rifle.
We see a lot more disruption. This round actually breaks apart. It doesn't exit, so it's about 3,000 feet per second, and all of that energy goes into the soft tissue. We have a piece of plastic here to reflect to do the videos, and it actually lifted the plastic up off the table with the energy.
An aftermath photo of the handgun round shows a relatively straight line through the tissue, exiting the other side. But not so with the round from an AR-15.
It basically goes into the body and creates an explosion inside the body.
Trauma surgeons say the wound from an assault rifle can be catastrophic.
And the worst part is in a child. All the vital organs are that much closer together, so each of those bullets causes, irreversible damage.
In Uvalde, Texas, families were asked for DNA swabs to help the authorities identify their children.
As a mom, it really affects me, right? Because I cannot imagine having a child endure this.
And with high-capacity magazines, suspects can shoot for much longer.
Now, the discussion about high-capacity magazines largely centers on reducing the amount of time that a suspect can fire without having to reload. As a former FBI agent, we were trained to quickly get your weapon reloaded and back up on target. But for a suspect, for example, who isn't trained, you can see using this training weapon, that is a process. It involves removing the empty magazine, obtaining a fresh round of ammunition, loading it into the weapon, charging the weapon, getting it back up on target. Those are all precious seconds where victims can be fleeing, the gun can jam, or the suspect could be engaged by law enforcement or bystanders.
Knowing the damage that sustained firepower can do, researchers hope their critical findings lead to awareness.
Regardless of where one comes down on the gun control debate, it's indisputable that the assault weapon causes significant damage inside the body.
Definitely, but this is the reality. This is what's happening.
Now, Jake, although the Justice Department says that handguns have been used in most mass shootings, it's important to note that the deadliest mass shooters have opted for this AR-15 style weapon. And you can see why. That ballistic demonstration there in our story shows you the disastrous impact that this weapon can have on the human body. Jake, this weapon that was designed originally for the use by soldiers on the battlefield is now causing unspeakable carnage here at home. Jake.
Josh Campbell, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
But this is the reality. This is what's happening. This is the reality. This is what's happening. This is the reality. This is what's happening.
On May 24th, 2022, Salvador Ramos and his 66-year-old grandmother had an argument over his failure to graduate from high school at their home in Uvalde, during which he shot her in the face before taking her black 2008 Ford F-150. She survived and got help from neighbors. While police officers were called in, she was then airlifted to a hospital in San Antonio in critical condition. Ramos, using his Facebook account, sent 3 private messages to a 15-year-old girl from Germany, whom he had met online prior to the shooting. The first to say that he was going to shoot his grandmother, a second to say he had shot his grandmother, and a third, about 15 minutes before the shooting, to say that he was going to open fire at an elementary school. The girl replied, "Cool." Later, she faced trial in Frankfurt, Germany, and was found guilty of failing to report planned crimes. She was issued a warning and was required to undergo educational measures. A spokesperson for Meta, the parent company of Facebook, said the posts were private one-to-one text messages discovered after the shooting took place. Ramos crashed his grandmother's truck through a barricade and into a concrete ditch outside Robb Elementary School at 11:28 a.m. CDT and proceeded to scale a fence and enter the school grounds. According to police, he wore a tactical vest for carrying ammunition that did not include ballistic protection or armor insert panels, plus a backpack and all black clothing, while carrying an AR-15 style rifle and 7 30-round magazines. He brought into the school only one of the 2 rifles that he had legally bought and left the other in the crashed truck. A witness said he first fired at 2 people at a nearby funeral home, both of whom escaped uninjured. After hearing of the 911 call, a school resource officer drove to the school's campus and pursued a teacher whom the officer erroneously believed to be the gunman, driving past the actual gunman in the process. Ramos entered the school through its west-facing entrance door, which had been shut by a teacher who had seen him. The entrance door did not lock, despite being designed to be locked when shut. UCISD's police chief estimated that the shooting began at 11:32, according to a Facebook post by the school. The school was placed in lockdown at 11:43 in response to gunshots heard in the vicinity.
I don't know.
A report released on July 6 found that an officer had aimed his rifle at Ramos before he entered the school, but did not fire because he was awaiting his supervisor's permission. After entering the building, Ramos walked down 2 short hallways and then entered a classroom that was internally connected to another classroom. All of the fatalities took place in these adjoining classrooms, 111 and 112. A survivor of the shooting said that, as teacher Irma Garcia attempted to lock the door to the classroom, he shot the door's window, then backed Garcia into the classroom and said "good night" as he shot and killed her. Another survivor recounted that Ramos said, "You're all gonna die," after entering the classroom. He then opened fire on the rest of the students and another teacher in the room. According to a surviving student, Ramos played sad music during the massacre. Most of the shooting occurred inside the building within the first few minutes. Ramos was inside the classroom for over an hour, while armed police remained outside the classroom and building. Multiple students played dead while the shooting took place, including one student, 11-year-old Maya Cirillo, who smeared herself with the blood of one of her dead classmates to give credence to the subterfuge. According to a student who hid in the adjoining classroom, Ramos came in and slightly crouched down, saying, "It's time to die," before opening fire. Afterwards, a responding officer called out, "Yell if you need help." A girl in the adjoining classroom said, "Help!" Ramos heard the girl, entered the classroom, and shot her. A student said that the officer then barged into the classroom, and Ramos fired at the officer, causing more officers to return fire. Arnulfo Reyes, a teacher in classroom 111 who received multiple gunshot wounds, recalled he instructed his students to get under the table and act like you're asleep. Ramos then arrived and shot him before firing indiscriminately around classroom 111. Reyes said he didn't hear talk for a while, but later on, Ramos unleashed a second round of gunfire at students, and Reyes said if he didn't get them the first time, he got them the second time.
We need to fucking make sure we got covered, wey. Let's go. There we go. Where? Vic, where you want us? cover. Hold it. Watch that door. Juan, watch that door behind you. The roof, way. AR. It's this building. We need to make sure it's surrounded.
That's my wife's classroom.
All 11 students in classroom 111 during the shooting died. Reyes pretended to be unconscious on the floor, but Ramos then shot him again. According to Reyes, he heard law enforcement approach his classroom from what sounded like the hallway 3 times, but they did not enter. During one of these occasions, he heard a student from the adjoining classroom, 112, saying, "Officer, we're in here, we're in here." As law enforcement had already left, Reyes said Ramos walked over there and he shot again. Reyes later heard law enforcement telling Ramos to come out of the classroom to talk, saying they did not want to hurt anyone. Separately, Reyes said in past security checks, the classroom 111 door that was meant to be locked during lessons remained unlocked because the latch was stuck, and that he had told the principal about this issue.
There's children under here. The children were dead under the table. But there was nothing I could do about it. Just... So...
Your children?
Yeah, my children.
I just went to my parents and said, "I'm sorry. I tried my best with what I was told to do. Please don't be angry with me. It all happened too fast. Training, no training, all kinds of training. Nothing gets you ready for this. We trained our kids to sit under the table. And that's what I thought of, at the time. But we set them up to be like ducks. You can give us all the training you want, but it's gun laws have to change. They never change unless they change the laws.
Reyes says he doesn't think he can ever return to a classroom, but he's making it his mission to honor the lives of his students and 2 of his fellow teachers.
The only thing that I know that I will not let these children and my coworkers die in vain. Absolutely, I will not. I will go anywhere to the end of the world to not let my students die in vain. They didn't deserve this. Nobody in this world deserves this kind of pain. No mother, nobody deserves this. I will go to the end of the world to make sure things get changed.
A male student in classroom 109 said that around 15 minutes after the shooting began, the gunman approached classroom 109's door and pulled its handle, but his teacher had jammed the door after hearing gunfire. The gunman shot through the door's glass window, striking another student and the teacher in classroom 109, then left, with the Texas official stating that the gunman had briefly returned into the hallway after entering classrooms 111 and 112 without specifying what time this occurred. The Washington Post reported that this is likely when those in room 109 were shot at, before the gunman returned to classrooms 111 and 112. Officers arrived 3 minutes after Ramos entered the school and approached rooms 111 and 112, but they retreated after Ramos fired at them. Officers were not successful in establishing negotiations. United States Marshal Service deputies drove nearly 70 miles to the school and arrived at 12:10 p.m. At 12:17, UCISD sent out a message on Twitter that there was an active shooter at the elementary school. The school district's police chief, Pedro Arredondo, erroneously determined that the situation had, quote, transitioned from an active shooter to a barricaded subject, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. With Ramos thought to be contained, officials believed they had bought enough time to bring in tactical units. According to Uvalde County Judge Bill Mitchell, teacher Ava Morales from inside the adjoining classrooms where the shooter was, called her husband, Ruben Ruiz, a Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District officer who was outside the school. According to DPS Director Stephen McCraw, during the call, Morales told Ruiz that she had been shot and was dying. When Ruiz tried to move forward into the hallway, he was detained by law enforcement, and they took his gun away from him and escorted him off the scene. What in the fuck?
Ruben. She said she shot Johnny.
Morales eventually died from her gunshot wounds. After the police cordoned off the outside of the school, parents pleaded with officers to enter the building. When they did not go, parents offered to enter the building themselves. Officers held back and tackled parents who tried to enter the school, further warning that they would use tasers if the parents did not comply with directions. Video clips of these interactions were uploaded to social media, including one that depicted a parent being pinned to the ground. Police pepper sprayed a parent trying to get to their child, and an officer tackled the father of another student. Police reportedly used a taser on a parent who approached a bus to get to their child. A mother of 2 students at the school was placed in handcuffs by officers for attempting to enter the school. When released from the handcuffs, she jumped the fence and retrieved her children, exiting before police entered. A video clip showed parents questioning why police were not trying to save their children, to which an officer replies, "'Cause I'm having to deal with you."
Man, that's fucking crazy, bro. They're just standing all outside, bro. There's fucking kids in there still, man.
Y'all should have fucking changed that motherfucker like that. What the fuck you doing to him? Let him go. ¿Qué pasó? Disparar, güey. We're shooting.
He's in the class. Dude, if I got shots fired, we're gonna be in the building, the west side. Dude, we gotta get in there. We gotta get in there. He just keeps shooting. We gotta get in there.
Move back, everybody.
They're not gonna let you.
They're gonna right there. Mia! Over here. They're gonna be right here. They're gonna
oh, no.
kids. Baby! Mia! Guys!
A United States Border Patrol Tactical Unit agent rushed to the scene after receiving a text from his wife, who was a teacher there, prior to this, the agent had been off duty. The agent immediately had set out with a shotgun his barber had lent him. That's the most Texas thing I've ever heard. And arrived on the scene approximately an hour after the first responders arrived. He then proceeded to help evacuate children. Contrary to online rumors and social media posts, he did not enter the school or kill the shooter. Additional BORTAC agents arrived, but they did not have a battering ram or other breaching tools, so a U.S. Marshal on the scene provided agents with a ballistic shield. Ramos stayed in the classroom for around 1 hour, hiding behind a steel door that officers said they could not open until they obtained a master key from the janitor. However, there is evidence that the door was never locked. After the door was opened, a BORTAC agent entered the room holding the shield, followed by 2 other BORTAC agents, a Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue agent, BORSTAR, and at least 1 sheriff's deputy. Ramos reportedly opened fire at the group from a closet in the room before officials returned fire and killed him.
At 12:12, a Uvalde officer's body camera picks up radio traffic from a dispatcher saying there is a call from a child in room 12.
You have a child on the line.
Hey, what was that?
It's going to be room 12.
All the victims. Child called 911.
Children were risking their lives, calling the cops several times, wondering why they don't go in, giving them the room number, knowing that if they do get that phone and make that call, there's a chance that they could get shot, knowing that. And they did it. And the cops still didn't go in. And it's just a complete disgrace. I feel all those people should turn in their badges.
Of your daughter, she had just won an honor roll.
Yeah.
What do you want people to know about her?
That she was just trying to do the right thing. She was just trying to call the cops. She was so scared of just strangers and things like this. Like, she would lock the door when I would step out to put gas in the car. Like, this is literally like her worst fear. And she was just trying to help everyone.
She talked about something like this.
So I'm a med aide. So when I arrived on the scene, they still had kids inside. They started bringing the kids out, and I was aiding assistants. One little girl was just covered in blood, head to toe. Like, I thought she was injured. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she's okay. She was hysterical, saying that they shot her best friend, that they killed her best friend, and she's not breathing, and that she was trying to call the cops. And I asked the little girl the name, and she told me, she said Amory.
That's how you learn.
She was so sweet, Mr. Cooper. She was the sweetest little girl who did nothing wrong. She listened to her mom and dad. She always brushed her teeth. She was creative. She made things for us. She never got in trouble in school. Like, I just want to know what she did to be a victim.
And she loved being a big sister. You have a 3-year-old son named Zane.
We have a 3-year-old son named Zane who asks for his sister every morning when he wakes up.
He doesn't know at this point, I assume.
We've informed him that his sister is now with God, and that and that she will no longer be with us. And of course, he just cried. I mean, he's 3 years old, and it's still just emotional for him to even process. She just turned 10. Her birthday was on the 10th, May the 10th, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. You had a party for her?
We just gathered a family and had a dinner. She just got her phone. She'd been wanting her phone for so long, and we finally got it for her. She just tried to call the police.
She actually tried to call.
Yes, I got confirmation from 2 of the students in her classroom that she was just trying to call the authorities. And I guess he just shot her. How you look at this girl and shoot her? Oh, my baby, how do you shoot my baby? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. How's your wife?
I just want to ask everybody to just keep my wife in their prayers. Amory had the best mother. She did everything she could for her daughter, and she's just beating herself up so bad about this. And maybe it's not your fault, I promise. She just wants you to be happy.
Is there anything else you want people to know about Amory?
I just want people to know that she just died trying to save her classmates. She just wanted to save everyone.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I wish you peace in the days ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Angel Garza, thank you.
Hello. I'm calling with a phone. Are you okay? No, there's a school shooting. Okay, yes, ma'am. I have multiple units there. Are you with officers or are you barricaded somewhere? I'm in classroom. What's the classroom number? 1012. 112. 112? 112, yes, ma'am. What's your name, ma'am? Chloe Torres. Please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies. Hold on, okay? You said you're in classroom 112? Yes, ma'am. Please. need help. You were telling us that you should be quiet. I am. I'll tell you, but because of their mouth, nobody's listening to me. I know how to handle these situations. My dad taught me when I was a little girl. Send help. One of my teachers are still alive, but they're shot.
320. Go ahead with that child's information relay.
Officer child is advising he is in the room full of victims at this moment.
10-4, Uvalde. Can you confirm to see if that shooter is still standing? Or is he shot himself?
How far are y'all away?
They're inside of the building, okay? You just stay quiet, okay?
They're inside the building. You just need to stay quiet.
He does. And 9 children.
These are. Said victims from 12.
No, we hadn't heard that. No, we're in the floors, right? This is building 4.
Anybody hurt?
No, not here. No, sir. Here?
Yeah. EMS in there already? No. We have a shooter in there.
Yeah.
He's in here.
He's in here. Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand right here. Be ready. The last contact. Hey, hold on. Last contact we had was one of our school PD officers. His wife was a teacher. She called him saying she's dying. They just had a number of kid in room 12. Yeah, they had a kid in room 12. Most of them victims from 12.
In an interview by the Texas Tribune published on June 9th, 2022, Uvalde School District Police Chief at the time, Pedro Pete Arredondo, said he arrived at the school thinking he was the first law enforcement officer on the scene. He claimed he abandoned his police and campus radios because he wanted his hands free to shoot the gunman, and stated he also thought the radios would slow him down. He said one radio's antenna would hit him when he ran, while the other radio was prone to falling off his belt when he ran, and that he knew from experience that the radios did not work in some school buildings. Arredondo said he was unaware of 911 calls being made from the classrooms the gunman was in because he did not have a radio and no one told him. The other officers in the school hallway were not in radio communication either. In the Texas Tribune interview, Arredondo said that he did not consider himself as the incident commander for law enforcement. Instead, his role was a frontline responder, with him assuming someone else was in command. Can't somebody else do it? The National Incident Management System, which guides all levels of government on how to respond to mass emergency events, says that the first person on the scene is the incident commander. DPS officials have described Arredondo as the incident commander and identified him as giving the order to treat the situation as a barricaded subject. Arredondo said that he attempted to open the door to Classroom 111, while a Uvalde Police Department officer tried the door to Classroom 112, but both were locked. According to Arredondo, the classroom door had a steel jamb that prevented law enforcement from easily breaching it. Later reporting indicated these doors were not, in fact, locked. Arredondo was aware the gunman was firing from within the classroom and that some shots had grazed police officers. Oh no! According to Arredondo, he and the officers in the school hallway did their best to remain quiet, only whispering to each other, fearing that if the gunman heard them, he would shoot at them. He spent over an hour in the hallway, of which he held back from the classroom doors for 40 minutes to avoid attracting gunfire. Arredondo said that during the wait for door breaching tools, he tried to talk to the gunman through the walls to establish rapport, but got no response. Oh geez, what a meanie. What a meanie. That Salvador Ramos, he should have talked to that nice police officer who was being so patient with him. Also in the Texas Tribune interview, Arredondo said he was provided with 6 keys, which he tried on a door adjacent to the room where the gunman was. But none opened the door. He stated he later received another 20 to 30 keys, which also did not work, and that eventually other officers called his cell phone to inform him they had obtained a suitable key. Jesus fucking Christ. Arredondo denied cowardice and incompetence, stating that law enforcement's objective was to save as many lives as we could, and the extraction of the students from the classrooms by all that were involved saved over 500 of our Uvalde students and teachers before we gained access to the shooter and eliminated the threat. The perpetrator, Salvador Ramos, born on May 16, 2004 in Fargo, North Dakota. Huh.
Well, jeez. That's a surprise. Ends here and then this execution type deal.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if our suspect was from Brainerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that useful to you?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Yeah.
Salvador Rolando Ramos was a resident of Uvalde from an early age and was a former student at Uvalde High School. He also attended Robb Elementary School for 4th grade in the same classroom where he was killed. He was frequently bullied at school due to his stutter, short haircut, and limited wardrobe because his family was unable to afford more. At one point, another student tied his shoelaces together, causing him to fall face down. Lieutenant Chris Olivares from Texas DPS claimed that Ramos had no friends. Furthermore, he did not have a criminal record or any documented mental health issues. However, he had searched the term sociopath and received an email about possible treatment. He had also previously posted violent threats online. School officials at Uvalde High School withdrew him from the school on October 28, 2021, due to his frequent absences. Ramos's social media acquaintances said he openly abused and killed animals, such as cats, and would live stream the abuse on Yubo. Other social media acquaintances said he would also live stream himself on Yubo threatening to kidnap and rape girls who used the app, as well as threatening to commit a school shooting. Ramos's account was reported to Yubo, but no action was taken. Up until a month before the shooting, Ramos worked at a local Wendy's and had been employed there for at least a year. According to the store's night manager, he went out of his way to keep to himself. One of his coworkers said he was occasionally rude to his female coworkers, to whom he sent inappropriate text messages and would intimidate coworkers at his job by asking them, "Do you know who I am?" Ramos's coworkers referred to him by names including School Shooter because he had long hair and frequently wore black clothing. I mean, I'm sure it also had to do with like his fucking personality too, because like that's not like vague at all. What the fuck ever. A year before the shooting, Ramos started posting pictures to his Instagram account of semi-automatic rifles that were on his wish list. According to a friend of his, he would often drive around at night with another friend, shooting at strangers with a BB gun and egging cars. According to a man who was in a relationship with Ramos's mother, Ramos moved out of his mother's house and into his grandparents' house 2 months before the shooting, after an argument broke out between him and his mother over her turning off the Wi-Fi. People close to Ramos's family described his mother as a drug user and said he frequently argued with her. 2 months prior to the shooting, he posted a video of himself on Instagram aggressively arguing with his mother and referring to her as a bitch. Ramos's mother described her son as not a monster, but admitted that he could be aggressive. His grandfather said that his grandson did not have a driver's license and did not know how to drive. According to his father, Ramos had a girlfriend who lived in San Antonio. On May 14th, Ramos sent a private Instagram message reading 10 more days. A person responded, "Are you going to shoot up a school or something?" He replied, "No, stop asking dumb questions. You'll see." According to the Texas Department of Public Safety, in September 2021, Ramos asked his older sister to buy him a gun, but she refused. On May 17th, 2022, a day after his 18th birthday, he legally purchased a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic rifle from a local gun store. He then purchased another rifle 3 days later. Investigators later found that his gun had a Hellfire trigger device, which decreases the time required for the trigger to reset, increasing the possible rate of fire. Ramos sent an Instagram message to an acquaintance he met through Yubo, which showed the receipt for an AR-15 style rifle purchased from Georgia-based online retailer Daniel Defense 8 days before the shooting. He posted a picture of 2 rifles on his Instagram account 3 days before the shooting. Ahead of the shooting, Ramos had purchased 1,657 total rounds of ammunition, which included 375 rounds of 5.56 NATO ammunition purchased on May 18, 2022. A total of 315 rounds were found inside the school, consisting of 142 spent cartridges and 173 live rounds. Additionally, a total of 922 rounds were found on school property outside the building, consisting of 22 spent cartridges and 900 live rounds. Overall, Ramos fired 164 rounds during the shooting. Police and Border Patrol officers fired a combined total of 35 rounds during the shooting, 8 in the hallway and 27 in the classroom where Ramos was killed. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives are assisting local police in the investigation. Ramos's guns and magazines were recovered by law enforcement for analysis. 2 days after the shooting, state officials said that the Texas Ranger Division was investigating local police's conduct during the shooting. On May 29th, the United States Department of Justice announced it would review the law enforcement response to the mass shooting at the request of Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin. After initially praising first responders, Governor Greg Abbott called for an investigation into the lack of initiative displayed by law enforcement. On May 27th, Abbott said, "Bottom line would be, why did they not choose the strategy that would be best to get in there and eliminate the killer and rescue the children?" On June 1st, ABC News, citing multiple unnamed law enforcement sources, reported that the Uvalde Police Department and the UCISD police force had stopped cooperating with investigations soon after the DPS said on May 27th that police had erred in delaying entry into the classroom. The DPS responded that the UPD and UCISD police force have been cooperating with investigators, while specifying that UCISD Police Chief Pedro Arredondo provided an initial interview but has not responded to a request for a follow-up interview with the Texas Rangers that was made 2 days ago. Also on June 1st, Arredondo told CNN that he was in contact with DPS every day and said he would not release further information about the events of the shooting while funerals are ongoing, citing respect for the families. Whenever this is done and the families quit grieving, then we'll do that, obviously.
Just over an hour into the attack, Pedro said, "We think there are some injuries in there, and so you know what we did. We cleared off the rest of the building so he wouldn't have any more besides what was already in there, obviously." As a side note, I noticed that during a brief confrontational interview after the shooting, Pedro also ended a statement with the word "obviously." This seems to be a habit of his.
When Uvalde Police Department's acting chief, Lieutenant Mariano Pargas, was interviewed by authorities 2 days after the shooting, he did not mention that he had known at the time that there were children in the classroom with the shooter. Pargas said that he had Officer Ruben Ruiz removed from the hallway after Ruiz said that Ruiz's wife was shot in her classroom because we were just afraid that he was gonna try to run in the classroom and try to do what I wanted to do if I could have done it. What? When Pargas was interviewed again in mid-June and asked about 911 calls made from inside the classroom, Pargas said he cannot remember, and he does not mention that he had called his department's dispatchers who told him about 911 calls from children inside the classroom. Instead, Parga said, the last thing we thought was that the shooter had actually shot the kids. We thought he had shot up in the air, broken the lights. We had no idea what was behind those doors. Give me a fucking break. How fucking dumb do they think we are? Jesus Christ. On June 9th, a committee of 3 started their investigations into the shooting on behalf of the Texas House of Representatives. The committee consisted of Representative Dustin Burrows, Representative Joe Moody, and former Texas Supreme Court member Ava Guzman. That day, committee leader Burrows explained that the investigation would be done in private out of respect for the process and wanting to be thorough and accurate before revealing any conclusions. He's a good man, Jeffrey, and thorough. On June 20th, before the committee had a hearing at Uvalde City Hall, a fire marshal told parents, journalists, and a chaplain to leave the premises because someone...
Can we get a... Ma'am, I've already told you, you need to leave.
My ID and I'm getting...
You're causing this trouble.
My ID! Stop!
Hey,
right now!
I already told her. I don't give a shit. I already told her. I've already told her she could be under arrest if she continues to cause a disturbance.
I'm gonna get my son out!
She is. If she can do that quietly,
I'm gonna get my son out!
If she can do that quietly, let her go. Let her go.
We tried quietly. Y'all did.
Let her get her son.
Let me get my son.
You don't even know the story. You need to not talk to my wife that way. You don't even know the story, sir. It doesn't matter. I was right here. I've been here. You haven't been here. I have been here. Okay, you need to stay back. Stay back. For her, stay back. My camera's going. Okay.
She's realizing that his biological father.
Ma'am, can you call the police? Can you call the Uvalde police? That's all you have to do. That's what I told you when you first walked in.
How many before people start standing up? You think that, oh, this doesn't happen to me or doesn't happen here or anything until it does. And it will. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
At 10:10 a.m., video shows the shooter entering the school after firing at the glass of 2 double doors. 3 minutes later, the first 911 call came in to dispatch. By 10:24 a.m., first responders were on the scene. Minutes later, officers Rex Engelbert and Michael Colazzo opened fire, killing the shooter.
We have to do something to stop these kids dying.
Is audio that I was given by a parent of kids from across the rooms where the kids were murdered. These children survived. This is the shrill screaming of kids trying to get out while their classmates are being murdered. When you see pictures of Amory and her friends on the news, you should know they didn't get buried looking sweet and happy like their photos. Some were missing limbs, some had holes in their tiny chests. You might mistakenly imagine a funeral where a child lies peacefully in a colorful coffin. But make no mistake, there's no peace in the death of a child by a weapon of war.
On June 16th, the city of Uvalde, through its attorneys, cited several reasons to prevent the release of police records relating to the shooting. The stated reasons include information that is not of legitimate concern to the public, highly embarrassing information related to criminal history, potential revealing of police methods, techniques, and strategies for preventing and predicting crime, potentially distressing information, potentially exposing city employees or officers to a substantial threat of physical harm, privacy, and the dead suspect loophole, where information is suppressed for crimes in which no one has been convicted, including in cases where the suspect is dead. The hallway video. Freeman F. Martin, Deputy Director of Homeland Security Operations at the Texas DPS, informed Burroughs that the District Attorney of Uvalde County had objected to the release of a portion of a video taken in the hallway during the police response. Oh my God, I can't imagine why.
You look like an asshole!
The clip ended immediately before officers breached the classroom and did not show any images of children. Burroughs, Martin, and Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin believed that releasing the footage would be helpful to the public. On June 12, 2022, the Austin American-Statesman released 77 minutes of video composed of footage from hallway cameras and an officer's body-worn camera. The released video was edited to obscure the identity of a student and to remove the sound of children screaming. The video was intended to be shown to the families of victims on Sunday, July 17th, before it would be released publicly. The video was leaked early by the Austin American-Statesman on July 12th, creating anger amongst some of the victims' families, whilst others expressed support at the release. The leaked video attracted further criticism and outrage, showing law enforcement to seemingly not understand the gravity of the situation, including one officer taking a pump of hand sanitizer from a dispenser and two other officers exchanging a fist bump. Are you fucking serious? Holy shit. A Uvalde staff member filed a petition for information about Daniel Defense on June 2nd, attempting to make a prima facie case against the gunmaker for its marketing of the weapons. The staff member had been outside delivering food to the school for an end-of-year party when she witnessed a car crash. She then had gone inside to grab her cell phone to call 911 about the crash, and had propped open a door to the school with a rock, but had kicked the door shut when she ran inside after witnessing the shooter hopping a fence and coming towards the school. This was one part of the misrepresented details that were published after the shooting.
Suddenly, on that clear blue Texas day, a truck crashes outside the school.
Yes, there was just an accident right here behind Robb's school. They ran into the ditch. It's a pickup truck.
Amy Marin, a school speech specialist seen here on surveillance camera, had just gone outside where she witnesses the crash.
I was running to him to help him.
You were worried about him?
My first thought was somebody had a heart attack.
But Amy, who today still suffers from nearly constant PTSD-induced tremors, realizes within seconds that the single vehicle crash looks much more sinister.
Oh my God, they're running. I don't know why. Oh my God, he has to die.
Security footage then captures the driver of that pickup truck walking away from the crash. He heads directly toward Robb Elementary.
He's up in the schoolyard, man. He just jumped up in the fence. He's running toward the school. He's wearing black. Please, hurry. Yes, sir. We have multiple units heading out that way.
Good shots at Robb Elementary. Good shot.
I'm telling the operator that he's shooting.
Miss Amy, how many shots were fired? Several. I think he came on campus. Okay, ma'am, he's on campus. Oh my God.
The gunman continues toward the school, shooting as he gets closer.
What is that? Hey, what is that?
My students were asking me, what's going on? What's that noise? Like, it couldn't be.
A rock that staff sometimes use to prop the exterior school door open is holding it ajar, and Amy Marin runs over.
You see me kick the rock and pull the door.
You did not leave it open?
No.
What Amy doesn't know, which investigators would later uncover, is that the door is not set to lock automatically, as it should have been. So despite her efforts, the door doesn't lock and could not have been locked from the inside. An alert goes out to the school faculty through Raptor, an emergency alert system that places the school on lockdown. A minute later, hallway cameras capture the gunman entering the school through that door.
Okay, ma'am, he went inside the building? Oh my God.
He made it into the building, guys.
On June 3rd, a parent of one of the deceased victims filed a letter seeking documents and records from Daniel Defense through lawyers that had represented families at the victims of the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting against the manufacturer of the rifle used in the shooting. On June 7th, attorney Thomas J. Henry filed a lawsuit on behalf of 4 families of students injured in the shooting against Ramos's estate and sought answers about how he had gained access to the school. Henry said that the initial lawsuit would allow them to discover evidence and potentially add other parties to the lawsuit, with the discovery process focused on the school system, law enforcement, social media, and the gun and ammunition manufacturers. On November 28, 2022, the family of victim Eliana Torres, including her mother Sandra, filed a lawsuit alongside Everytown for Gun Safety against gun manufacturer Daniel Defense and gun store Oasis Outback, as well as 24 additional people and entities. The lawsuit alleged that Daniel Defense markets its AR-15 style rifles by using militaristic imagery and video game references, by marketing on various social media platforms, and by suggesting that its rifles can be used by civilians for offensive combat-style operations against non-combatants, as well as accusations of unfair marketing tactics and violation of the Federal Trade Commission Act.
It's been a long road getting here. And a lot has changed since I got back. Now this is the center of my world. And my family's safety is my highest priority. I am responsible for their protection. And no one has the right to tell me how to defend them. So I've chosen the most effective tool for the job.
Daniel Defense. Defending your nation. Defending your home.
So why Daniel Defense?
I wanna come.
I'll take it.
Oasis Outback, which delivered the rifles used in the attack to Ramos, was accused of negligent transfer of firearms, as well as the fact that the store had a duty not to sell weapons to the just-turned-18 shooter who it knew or reasonably should have known was likely to harm himself or others. Ramos was described by witnesses as nervous and behaving suspiciously while inside the store. Furthermore, the lawsuit filed charges on the accusation of a failed law enforcement response, claiming that Eliana's 4th and 14th Amendment rights were violated when she and her fellow students and teachers were involuntarily confined within their classrooms, accompanying additional unlawful seizure and lack of due process accusations towards the law enforcement defendants. UCISD asked parents not to pick up their children until all Robb Elementary School students were accounted for. At around 2:00 p.m., parents were notified to pick them up. All district and campus activities were canceled, and the parents of students at other schools were asked to pick up their children due to school bus cancellations. That night, UCISD Superintendent Hal Harrell announced in a letter sent to parents that the school year had concluded for the entire district, similarly to what was done during the COVID-19 pandemic in Texas, including the cancellation of a planned graduation ceremony. The school year had previously been scheduled to end 2 days later, on Thursday. Some parents had to wait late into the night for final confirmation of their child's death, awaiting DNA identification. On the day of the shooting, Uvalde Memorial Hospital had an emergency blood drive for the victims. The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center issued an urgent request for blood donations after the shooting, and it sent 15 units of blood to Uvalde via helicopter to be used in area hospitals. On May 27th, the center reported that more than 2,000 people donated blood after the shooting. Ramos's remains were held by the Uvalde County coroner for weeks after local funeral homes refused to arrange funeral services for him out of respect for his victims, before they were eventually cremated by Castle Ridge Mortuary in Crystal City. Shortly after the shooting, a memorial was created outside the school for the victims and survivors with balloons, candles, and crosses. A local man made 21 crosses inscribed with the victims' names to be placed outside the school. Additional memorials were erected for the deceased victims throughout Uvalde by both locals and those who drove into the city to honor the victims. Other memorials and tributes were held throughout the country. Free headstones and funeral services were offered to the families of victims by local and state businesses. State and locally based food trucks and restaurant owners also traveled to Uvalde to offer food and supplies for families affected by the shooting. Joe Garcia, the husband of Irma Garcia, one of the teachers murdered during the shooting, died 2 days after the shooting from a heart attack while attending a memorial. Oh my God. His family said the heart attack was tied to grief after losing his wife. They were survived by 4 of their children. UCISD created a fund through the First State Bank, with the money raised going to the families of the victims and survivors, with donations accepted in person or by check. On May 27th, it was announced that an anonymous donor had donated $175,000 to go towards the funerals of the victims. Fundraising was also seen on the crowdfunding platform GoFundMe, which set up a central hub for people looking to donate to help those affected by the shooting in an effort to stop scammers from taking advantage of the shooting. As of May 27th, about $7.5 million had been raised through the hub from donors across the U.S. and from over 91 countries. Additional fundraisers for the victims and their families were done through many avenues, such as item sales or proceedings from a barbecue. Chief Pedro Pete Arredondo disputed being the incident commander for law enforcement responding to the shooting. By 12:46 p.m., Arredondo seemed to give his approval for officers to enter the room, the Times reported. "If y'all are ready to do it, you do it," he said, according to the transcript. He delivered 2 brief press statements on the day of the shooting, May 24th, without answering questions, then offered no public comments until June 1st. Arredondo had been elected to the Uvalde City Council on May 7th, before the shooting occurred. On May 30th, the mayor, Don McLaughlin, said that the special city council meeting, where Arredondo would have been sworn in as a city council member, will not take place as scheduled, as the focus on Tuesday is on our families who lost loved ones. McLaughlin commented that there is nothing in the city charter, election code, or Texas Constitution that prohibits Arredondo from taking the oath of office, and said he was not aware of any investigation of Arredondo. On May 31st, McLaughlin revealed that Arredondo had personally visited City Hall that day and was sworn in as a city council member, stating that the lack of a ceremony was done out of respect for the families whose children were killed in the shooting. Oh, how thoughtful that Arredondo. Arredondo did not attend a city council meeting on June 7th. When Mayor McLaughlin was questioned on Arredondo's absence, McLaughlin said he can't answer that. God damn it. So there. When journalists visited the UCISD headquarters where Arredondo was, law enforcement ordered them to leave. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here right fucking now. A CNN journalist was given an initial warning and was told that Uvalde police were on their way and would charge journalists with criminal trespassing if they continued to remain at the headquarters. Wow.
The military is illegally ordering us to land. The freedom of the press is in jeopardy.
On June 3rd, UCISD's board held a meeting and decided not to take any disciplinary action against Arredondo at the time. He was put on administration leave on June 22nd. In an interview published June 9th in the Texas Tribune, Arredondo provided his first detailed public comments on the shooting. He said he did not speak out earlier to avoid blaming others or worsening the community's grief. On July 2nd, Arredondo resigned from his position on the Uvalde City Council. The Uvalde School Board voted unanimously on August 24th to terminate Arredondo's contract as police chief.
You're terminated, fucker.
Nice. On June 3rd, UCISD's board held a meeting and decided that the Robb Elementary School building would no longer be used as a school, with students and staff members moving to a new campus. Superintendent Harrell announced that Robb Elementary School would never be reopened out of concern for the potential to re-traumatize surviving students and staff or the wider community. On June 21st, Mayor McLaughlin announced that the Robb Elementary School building would be demolished. A new school to replace the Robb Elementary School is set to begin construction in summer 2023. It is scheduled to open in fall 2024. In the wake of the shooting, Donna Independent School District, which serves Donna, Texas, an area approximately 234 miles from Uvalde, received a credible threat of violence. In response, the district canceled school while it investigated the threat. On June 7th, the Department of Homeland Security warned individuals in online forums that routinely promulgate domestic violent extremist and conspiracy theory-related content have praised the shooting and encouraged copycat attacks, while others tried to spread disinformation and incite grievances, including claims it was a government-staged event meant to advance gun control measures. Hey, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
December 14th, 2012, Newtown, Connecticut, United States, when 20-year-old Abby Lanza.
On August 8th, 2023, a 17-year-old cousin of Salvador Ramos was arrested and charged with making a terroristic threat to the public for allegedly claiming to his sister that he was planning on doing the same thing as his cousin. Oh my god. After the shooting, Texas State Trooper Crimson Elizondo, that's a pretty cool name, I think, was investigated by her agency, the Texas Department of Public Safety, for actions during the shooting that were inconsistent with training and department requirements. In August 2022, Elizondo resigned from the Texas Department of Public Safety. On October 5th, 2022, CNN reported that Elizondo had been hired as a Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District police officer. CNN also reported on Elizondo's actions during the shooting, stating that she had been one of the first officers to respond to the scene, but does not retrieve any tactical body armor or her long rifle, as officers are trained to do, and walked inside the building briefly, but mostly stood outside during the shooting. Good job. CNN further cited that Elizondo is heard on body camera video telling other officers that, "If my son had been in there, I would not have been outside. I promise you that." Okay. On August 6th, Elizondo was fired from the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District, which cited that Elizondo's statements in the audio is not consistent with the district's expectations.
My son had been in there, and I would not have been outside, I promise you that.
Wow. In late October 2022, Sergeant Juan Maldonado was fired from the Texas Department of Public Safety. CNN reported that he was one of the first responding law enforcement officers, having arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of the start of the shooting. On November 14th, 2022, CNN reported on audio and video of the actions of Uvalde Police Department's acting police chief, Lieutenant Mariano Pargas, during the shooting, stating that at 12:16 p.m., Pargas made a call and asked a dispatcher how many are still alive in room 112, with the dispatcher telling him 8 to 9 are still alive. At 12:17 p.m., Pargas tells a Border Patrol officer that there are injured victims. At 12:18 p.m., Pargas does not mention children to a Texas Ranger, discussing the flow of information.
And Pargas is nearby.
The room is full of victims. Child 911.
This week, audio obtained by CNN states Pargas knew there were 8 or 9 children still alive. Following that call, 30 minutes passed before the shooter was killed, and 6 months later,
he cowered out one more time.
The family's still frustrated. Pargas hasn't shown his face as county commissioner since the shooting.
I'm thinking I'm just talking to a chair. An empty chair with an empty person in there. Even if he was there, he was probably empty.
On Wednesday, we spoke with Jesse Rizzo, Jackie Cazares' uncle, still furious that a student called for help and never got it.
For Chloe, that she saw that, that when she calls 911 for help, and then the message gets to him. So you're hearing it and you're watching it. And you sit there and you're like, how in the heck did this happen? So absolutely. It just rips your heart one more time.
On November 17th, 2022, Pargas retired from the Uvalde Police Department 2 days before the Uvalde City Council would discuss whether he should be fired.
Pargas' time as a police lieutenant is over, but Rizzo is upset that 584 people kept Pargas in this chair as a county leader.
I'm upset. I'm thinking about how he could actually put his name on the ballot and yet win an election and then not show up and face the consequences.
In January 2023, Christopher Ryan Kendall was fired from the Texas Rangers due to failing to treat the gunman as an active shooter. Kendall has appealed the firing. In September 2023, the Texas Department of Public Safety stated that its internal investigation had concluded, with no more officers to be punished. Almost 400 law enforcement officers, including 150 U.S. Border Patrol agents and 91 Texas DPS officers, came to Uvalde during the shooting. Before tactical units arrived, police officers inside the school, who numbered at least 19, made no effort to breach the room where Ramos was located, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. At a May 26 press conference, when asked whether first responders had erred in waiting for reinforcements, DPS official Victor Escalon said he did not have enough information to answer that question yet. In a media interview on the same day, DPS spokesman Chris Oliveira said that if law enforcement proceeded any further not knowing where the suspect was at, they could have been shot, they could have been killed, and that gunman would have had an opportunity to kill other people inside that school. Uvalde's police chief Daniel Rodriguez defended his officers in a May 26 statement, saying, "It is important for our community to know that our officers responded within minutes." Former Austin and Houston Police Chief Art Egavito tweeted, "We don't have all the particulars right now, but when gunfire is ringing out, police are trained, expected, and required to engage. This is a moral and ethical obligation." On May 27th, the DPS acknowledged several law enforcement errors that potentially led to greater bloodshed. At a news conference, Stephen C. McCraw, the DPS director, said, "From the benefit of hindsight, where I'm sitting now, of course it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, period." On June 2nd, Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez said that he heard from the Commission on State Emergency Communications that Arredondo did not know of 911 calls being made by children trapped in a classroom with Ramos. Gutierrez said the Uvalde Police Department was receiving the 911 calls for 45 minutes, while 29 officers were sitting in a hallway. We don't know if it was being communicated to those people or not. On June 3rd, Gutierrez said that he had heard from DPS that Arredondo had no radio during the shooting. On June 9th, the New York Times determined through an investigative review that police officers were aware that there were injured individuals trapped inside classrooms before they decided to breach the entrance. On June 18th, San Antonio Express News cited a law enforcement source close to the investigation into the shooting, reported that surveillance video showed that law enforcement did not physically try to open the door to the classrooms Ramos was in for 77 minutes before law enforcement's eventual entry. The surveillance video showed Ramos firing inside classrooms 111 and 112, briefly returning into the hallway, then going back into the classrooms, said the source. Ramos then shot through the closed door, prompting law enforcement to retreat.
The door drops and Ginger does get a good start, but so does Pepper Sanchez, and Pepper's out by a snout here.
San Antonio Express News reported that law enforcement might have assumed the door was locked, while their source relayed investigators' belief that Ramos could not have locked the classroom door from the inside. Investigators are still determining whether the classroom door was unlocked all along, which may have been caused by a lock malfunction. The source also said that law enforcement for the entire time possessed a Halligan tool that could have breached a locked classroom door.
Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
The source added that Pete Arredondo had tried various keys not on the classroom door to classrooms 111 or 112 where Ramos was in, but on other classrooms nearby in an attempt to identify a master key. What in the fuck? On June 21st, Steve McCraw, Texas Department of Public Safety Director, testified during the Texas Senate committee meeting on the Uvalde school shooting that the police response was an abject failure and antithetical to everything we have learned over the past 2 decades, and that the police could have stopped the shooter in 3 minutes. His statements were the strongest condemnations by Texas state law enforcement of the police responses at Uvalde thus far. In particular, McCraw singled out Uvalde School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo, whom he identified as the on-scene commander at the incident. McCraw said the only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children. On July 17th, the Texas House Investigative Committee released a 77-page report on systemic failures and egregiously poor decision-making that exacerbated the shooting and criticized state and federal officials and agencies in addition to local police. The report said a total of 376 law enforcement officials responded to the shooting, including 149 Border Patrol agents and 91 state police officers. According to the New York Times, the report found that the Uvalde police chief knew that a child had made 911 calls from inside a classroom, but that none of the officers who learned of the calls advocated for shifting to an active shooter-style response, or otherwise acting more urgently to breach the classrooms. Officials, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Texas DPS Director Steve C. McGraw, gave inaccurate and incomplete initial accounts of the shooting. In many ways, new information from the authorities directly contradicted previous accounts from officials. On May 26, Representative Joaquin Castro of Texas said that state officials provided conflicting accounts that contradicted witnesses and called for the FBI to investigate and provide a full account of the incident. On May 24th, Abbott said Ramos had used a handgun and possibly a rifle during the shooting. The claim that Ramos used a handgun was inaccurate. On May 25th, Abbott said only one rifle was used during the shooting. Meanwhile, DPS official Eric Estrada said on May 24th that Ramos had body armor on, but he was later contradicted by DPS official Christopher Olivares, who said that Ramos was wearing a tactical vest that typically carries magazines, but had no ballistic panels. On May 25th, 2 DPS officials, Olivares and Travis Considine, separately said that a school police officer confronted Ramos outside the school, that the two exchanged gunfire, wounding the school police officer, and that Ramos then entered the school. Later on May 25th, McCraw said that a school police officer engaged Ramos without firing any shots. Well, then he didn't fucking engage him, did he? On May 26th, DPS official Victor Escalon said that there had been no confrontation between Ramos and a school police officer, and that Ramos had walked into the school unobstructed, with no readily available and armed officer present. On May 27th, McCraw said that the school police officer was not at the school when the incident started, but he drove there during the incident, drove right by Ramos, and mistakenly confronted a teacher. How the fuck do you miss Salvador Ramos? On May 25th, McCraw, without giving a specific timeline, said law enforcement engaged immediately. They contained the gunman in the classroom and put the tactical stack together in a very orderly way and breached. McCraw also said on that day that law enforcement engaged the active shooter and continued to keep him pinned down in that location until a tactical team was assembled to breach the room to kill Ramos. On May 26th, Escalon said law enforcement had delayed an assault on Ramos because they required specialty equipment, body armor, and precision riflemen, and negotiators. Escalon introduced the claim that there had been negotiations, saying Ramos did not respond and there wasn't much gunfire during negotiations, other than trying to keep the officers at bay. On May 26, McCraw claimed that Ramos entered the school from a door propped open by a teacher. Fuck you. On May 31st, a lawyer for the teacher said that the teacher had in fact closed the door after seeing Ramos having pulled and held the door closed while telling 911 about the shooting.
The first hours and days after the shooting were marked by a series of misstatements and inaccuracies by officials.
The teacher runs to the room 132 to retrieve a phone, and that same teacher walks back to the exit door, and door remains propped open.
I said, he's lying. That's a lie.
You knew he was blaming you.
Yes.
Even though Amy Marin was not named.
It was presumed at the moment that that was how the subject got in. Well, when the video was enhanced, it was obvious that same teacher went back and kicked the rock outside the door, okay, and the door closed. Now, she had a reason to believe and believed that the door was locked, but the door was not locked.
McCraw later apologized publicly to Amy Marin.
And to all those affected, I want to say, we are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Sorry.
And the people of Uvalde watched as officials initially obscured the missteps of law enforcement.
They showed amazing courage
by running toward gunfire for the singular purpose of trying to save lives.
The teacher thought the door would lock because that door is always supposed to be locked. Later, on May 31st, Considine acknowledged that the teacher had indeed closed the door before Ramos entered, but the door did not lock as it should. On June 21st, McCraw stated that the school entrance door could only be locked from the outside and that the teacher was unaware of that. On May 27th, Abbott said at a press conference that he was misled and given inaccurate information by law enforcement agencies. Oh my God, the police tell lies? They fib? They fib? OMG, when's someone gonna do something about that? Adding, I'm absolutely livid about that. CNN reported that Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin, who sat by Abbott at the press conference, was left as dumbfounded as the governor by the changing stories of law enforcement. On June 21st, McCraw stated that the classroom door had not been locked by the gunman. The classroom door could only be locked from the outside, not from the inside, and the teacher had reported before the shooting at the classroom door's lock was broken.
Enough is enough. Please do something.
Parents begging Texas lawmakers to support a bill that would raise the age to buy semi-automatic guns to 21.
We do everything to protect these guns. Let's just try something to protect our children.
For the first time, families heard a graphic new detail from May 24th.
The attacker scooped up the blood of his victims and smeared it into a disgusting message there. What he wrote in innocent blood right next to that lovebird banner was the phrase LOL.
This is the pain these parents hope others won't have to endure.
I don't want you to have to identify your child's body based on what he was wearing to school that day.
Javier Casares, whose daughter Jackie wanted to be a vet, wonders what her final thoughts were.
I try to tell everyone that I'm okay. I raise my voice louder and louder, but no response. Why can't anyone hear me?
They want lawmakers to listen, but the NRA argued such a bill would likely be deemed unconstitutional. Other states have identical laws. Despite the uphill battle this bill faces,
our hearts may be broken, but our resolve has never been stronger.
Families whose lives are forever changed are determined to fight on.
Everybody got their pillows and blankets? First, I'd like to preface this by saying thank you so much to every member who has met and heard from us. This goes to the ones who refused and turned down our meetings, that wanted to only offer thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. I'm so sick of hearing those three words from our elected officials. While your prayers may have comforted you, they did nothing to absolve our pain. While you may think about May 24th, we live it every single day. While you pray that your children grow up to be healthy and happy, contributing members of society, we pray that our children knew we were doing everything we could to get to them in that school to protect them. Your thoughts and prayers didn't stop an 18-year-old from purchasing 2 high-powered semi-automatic rifles and all of those rounds of ammunition. Your thoughts and prayers didn't stop us from having to bury our children and 2 teachers. Your thoughts and prayers do not help the children that survived, that were injured. Your thoughts and prayers haven't done anything in the 329 days since Uzziah was shot through his stomach, exiting his spine. Your thoughts and prayers are useless unless you have thought and prayed for legislation that you can help enact that could change this. Now, for those that want to argue about the Second Amendment, let me explain. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How does moving the age from 18 to 21 infringe? Does it infringe on our 13-year-olds' right to purchase these? I mean, why can't 6-year-olds buy them? I'm a gun owner myself, and most logical law-abiding gun owners agree. There's no language in or around the Second Amendment that's state and age. Everybody wants to talk infringement, but you know what was infringed? Uzziah's chance to live a life full of liberty and any chance to pursue happiness. Rights that you enable to be infringed upon by not just every child in Texas, but every adult as well, by not voting this out of committee and getting it heard on the House floor. I think a lot of you will do what is right, and I pray that the ones who have avoided taking our meetings will see that changing the age from 18 to 21 will save lives. Because who knows when you'll be in our shoes. And you will beat yourself up for not doing everything in your power to prevent it from happening to you. Because in this day and age, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Also, because I know we're going to hear this, to the gentlemen who oppose saying, let's connect the dots, we can connect them with Uzi's exit wounds. Your thoughts and prayers are empty. Legislation is not. Thank you.
Stood around and they made a shooter to obliterate my sister. You couldn't recognize her. Look at me. You couldn't recognize her. You stood around and watched this shooter have free range of shooting innocent kids and teachers. How? How do you not have questions? How do you live with yourself? This is insane. This doesn't happen in other countries. It happens in the United States of America. You allow people to have assault weapons that belong in the military. The military. These people were obliterated. No wonder you love this job. Y'all are surrounded by protection. Nothing has changed. Shame on y'all. Shame on y'all.
A moment for prayer to reflect on the unimaginable. Beyond the hugs, though, how can anyone explain to dads like Stephen Garcia why his daughter Ellie is gone? There are private moments of grief all over. So often places like this are said to be tight-knit, but you can feel it here. So many know someone now in so much pain. And yet even here, even after something like this, the political divide over guns is so stark. The governor of Texas and his ally in the Senate, the men who block all attempts to change gun laws, they are here and not unwelcome.
There are 19 sets of parents who are never going to get to kiss their child goodnight again.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people.
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
If you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American exceptionalism is awful.
I think this aspect of it.
You got your political agenda.
No, it's honestly,
God love you.
Senator, it's not. I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
It is just an American problem, sir.
Mr. Cruz, why is America the only country that faces this kind of mass shooting?
But you can't answer that. You can't answer that, can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this country?
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest country on earth.
It may be the freest, it may be the most
popular. Why are our kids dying in school?
Conservatives perceive America as American values, but they define American values the same way that they define conservative values. To conservatives, America is their values, and opposition to their conservative values is un-American, treasonous, and morally wrong. When conservatives say, "You hate America," it doesn't have anything to do with the United States of America. It's a value judgment about you not adhering to their conservative values. When Tucker Carlson makes such a statement about anyone to the left of conservatism hating America, no evidence is required for his audience, because to them it is self-evident. America is American values. American values are conservative values, opposition to conservative values is opposition to America. Opposition to America is hating America. Consider this. Many conservatives are comfortable displaying the flag of the Confederacy, even though the Confederacy was quite literally treasonous to America. Why is this? Because the values that the flag symbolizes align with their own. Conservatives do not see the contradiction because their conception of America is only their values. When confronted with a problem with America, the response from conservatives is obfuscation and accusation, all in one term. You hate America. Are you protesting racial inequality and police brutality? Is this something America should confront and reckon with? No, you just hate America. Are you marching to bring attention to climate change? Is this important to you and your children's future? No, you just hate America. No matter what the issue, conservatives can reliably count upon this accusation of hating America to change the subject. Once the subject is changed, not only is the accused America hater forced to defend their original point, but they must also defend this unrelated nonsensical point. An accusation of this magnitude is always going to appear more sensational and captivating than the actual issue, which will move audience attention to the accusation instead of the issue. Frankly, even if the accused person genuinely did hate America, that would not immediately invalidate their unrelated point. Liberals believe in reform, and many further to the left believe in revolution. But either of these perspectives are offensive to conservatives because the conceit of both reform and revolution is that something needs to change, that America needs to change. To conservatives, reform is un-American, and revolution is even less American despite America's revolutionary past.
Mr. Cruz, why is America the only country that faces this kind of mass shooting?
But you can't answer that. You can't answer that, can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this?
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest country on earth.
Maybe the freest, maybe the most.
Why are our kids dying?
If that wasn't clear enough, the governor's earlier news conference struck the heart of this gulf in American society.
You're doing nothing. No, you need to get his out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over. This is totally predictable when you... Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line.
You're out of order. The whole freaking system is out of order. Forget it, Marge! It's Chinatown!
Senator, thank you for everything you've done since Uvalde. All those podcast episodes must have raised a lot of money for you.
Just yesterday, I tried to pass the most significant school safety bill that's ever passed.
Why did you vote against the
party? Objected to it.
You tried to pass it? What work were you doing? How did you have time when you were recording a shit ton of podcast episodes?
You should ask why the Democrats objected to doubling the number of police officers.
You should ask why you don't know how to do your job without referring to other politicians.
15,000 new mental health.
You should fix your tie too.
You know the facts at all, or are you just going to engage in?
No, I know the facts. Do you know any of the names of the Uvalde victims?
I do, and ask why Chris Murphy objected and stopped the biggest school safety bill that's
So
ever
you didn't
passed
list any other names, but you again.
But you don't know. You don't care about the facts. You're a partisan. That's okay.
You're not a partisan.
Video. After that. Keep going. Push, push, push. Good job, McKenna.
Eva, say hi.
Come on, give me that.
No scars to your beautiful. We have to leave a man behind. We got all the stick we need. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Santa. Happy birthday to you.
On June 2nd, 9 days after the mass shooting, there was a private meeting at Uvalde City Hall. The gathering was arranged by Governor Greg Abbott's office due to rising tensions between Uvalde officials. Abbott's general counsel and his chief of staff, Louis Sayens, were both in attendance as mediators. Various Uvalde civic leaders were also present, including Mayor Don McLaughlin, County Judge Bill Mitchell, Local District Attorney Christina Mitchell Busby, County Attorney John Dodson, local police officials, Uvalde Assistant City Manager Joe Cardenas, and Uvalde City Attorney Paul Tarski. During the meeting, a one-page document titled Narrative was given to McGraw, the state's top police official. This was presented to him by City Attorney Paul Tarski. Uvalde city officials then pressured McGraw to publicly endorse their storyline and hold a press conference in which he was asked to change his depiction of events into a version more favorable to their liking. One in which the quick arrival of officers at the school would be promoted.
Listen, it's time I let you in on a little secret, Marge. The right house is the house that's for sale. The right person is anyone.
But all I did was tell the truth.
Of course you did, but there's the truth and the truth. Let me show you.
It's awfully small.
I'd say it's awfully cozy.
That's dilapidated.
Rustic.
That house is on fire.
Motivated seller.
Highlighting their success in containing the gunman. The narrative document was made available to the New York Times following a public information request. The city claimed there was zero hesitation on any of these officers' parts. They moved directly toward the gunfire, and the total number of persons saved by the heroes that our local law enforcement and the other assisting agencies is over 500.
Sir, let me know if there's any kids in there or anything. This could be peaceful.
The document defended the delayed police response prior to final confrontation with the gunman, stating that time was not wasted, but each minute was used to save lives of children and teachers, and that absent the shields, every UPD officer was of the opinion that breaching the door was suicide. However, according to New York Times, some of the footage from the scene raises question about the city's account. Video from the hallway of Robb Elementary made clear that shields began arriving in the hallway outside the classrooms long before the officers moved in. The city's description of events also conflicted with McGraw's previous statements to the public, in which he portrayed a scene where officers had not adhered to standard training procedures. The hour-long meeting was heated, and voices were raised. Motherfucker. McGraw refused to endorse the city's narrative as presented to him, saying that he disagreed with their summary. District Attorney Busby also objected to the city's narrative and argued her point with the Uvalde City Attorney, saying she was concerned with the release of inaccurate or incomplete information. Ramos's mother said that she had no explanation for her son's attack on the school, but that he had his reasons for doing what he did, and please don't judge him. I only want the innocent children who died to forgive me. Wow, what an apology. Don't judge him.
Perdóname, perdóname, hijo. Yo sé, él tenía sus razones.
¿Qué razones pudo haber tenido?
A que se acercaran más a sus niños en vez de poner atención a las otras cosas malas. Yo no tengo palabras, no sé. He was to himself. Él no le molestaba a nadie, él no le hacía nada a nadie.
Family members of Amerie Jo Garza, a student killed in the Uvalde school shooting, confronting the gunman's mother and demanding an explanation from her.
You have no right to judge my son. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No. May God forgive y'all. I know my son was a coward. You don't think I don't know that? I know. You don't think I'm carrying all that with me? You don't think I don't know? I know. And I'm sorry.
Adriana Reyes released from her time behind bars.
Is there anything you want to say?
But silent to question. Reyes moved to Oklahoma City and was living with her boyfriend. She was arrested Wednesday after multiple domestic calls. Police reports indicate Reyes told her boyfriend, quote, "Before she moves out of this house, she's going to kill him." A probable cause affidavit says the victim told police he's scared of what she may do to him when nobody's around or he's asleep, at one point telling police he's terrified of her.
Arnulfo Reyes, the teacher in classroom 111 who lost all 11 of his students present during the shooting, was shot in the arm, lung, and back. Reyes labeled law enforcement as cowards for their response during the shooting, saying they sit there and did nothing for our community. They took a long time to go in. He also said, "After everything, I get more angry because you, law enforcement, have a bulletproof vest. I have nothing." Survivors, family members of survivors, and victims spoke to a congressional panel, the United States House Committee on Oversight and Reform, about 2 weeks after the shooting. The testimony was done prior to the House debating a bill on June 8th that would raise the minimum age to 21 to purchase certain firearms and toughen prohibitions on untraceable guns. Gee, that'd be a nice first fucking step. Multiple survivors from the shooting have expressed their fear of returning to school and have spoken with media outlets to recount their experiences. Some gathered together and formed the organization Lives Robbed, a nonprofit organization that is aimed at bringing forward changes in gun legislation.
I bought those bears. I matched to the best that I could each bear with every student, like their favorite color. As a teacher, as an educator, you never think about losing a student. But to lose like 11 at a time, I mean, it's a lot at once.
Today because we want to end gun violence and to represent the angels that are not here no more.
After about 10 surgeries, he's now finally back on his feet.
Personally, I'm doing like as anybody that has lost a loved one would be, and I'm healing slowly but surely.
Angelique Gomez, who was handcuffed by police when she ran into the school to rescue her children, was later interviewed by CBS News. She said that she was on probation from charges from a decade prior and that law enforcement contacted her after the shooting to warn her not to publicize her story because she could face charges for obstruction of justice. What the fuck? Her lawyer later said that she had been harassed by police in 2 instances. The first when police conducted a traffic stop on her vehicle and falsely accused her of harboring illegal immigrants in it. And the second when a police vehicle stopped outside her home for around 45 minutes and flashed its lights at her and her mother. A special report by the Uvalde Leader News reported that Gomez's story was false after an investigation into the actions of Gomez. Gomez has not responded to the news article. President Joe Biden ordered flags at federal buildings to be flown at half-staff. In a televised address to the nation on May 24th, Biden highlighted that other countries have mental health problems, domestic disputes, and people who are lost, but these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Biden said that he was sick and tired of mass shootings, declaring we have to act and calling for common sense gun laws. Biden also spoke to Texas Governor Greg Abbott to offer assistance, according to Biden's communications director. On May 25th, Abbott held a press conference where he described the shootings as evil, intolerable, and unacceptable. Abbott continued by saying the shooting could have been worse if not for the actions of law enforcement who he described as having provided a quick response and showed amazing courage by running towards gunfire. Wow, dude. He proceeded to blame the shooting on a problem with mental health illness in the local community, while saying in the same speech that Ramos had no known criminal or mental health history. During the press conference, Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic nominee in the 2022 Texas gubernatorial, confronted Abbott by telling him, "You said this was not predictable. This was totally predictable, and you chose not to do anything." Don McLaughlin, the Republican mayor of Uvalde since 2014, told O'Rourke to leave the press conference, calling him a sick son of a bitch who was making a political issue, before O'Rourke was escorted out of the auditorium. O'Rourke later criticized Abbott for reducing mental health services in the state and expanding gun access to 18-year-olds. Wow. This is literally Greg Abbott's fault. This is literally Greg Abbott's fault. This is literally Greg Abbott's fault.
I believe the communications business has a key role in strengthening.
Excuse me, President Reagan. President Reagan! There's a nuclear test going on at Tuesday tomorrow afternoon.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
It was after Santa Fe High School.
Sit down. You're out of line and an embarrassment.
It was after El Paso.
Sit down and don't play.
Stop the next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No,
You're offering
he
us
needs to get his ass out of here.
You
This
said
isn't
this
the
is
place
not
to talk this
predictable.
over.
This is totally predictable when you.
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium.
So you can exit. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
This is not the place to do that. This is on you until you choose.
It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here? There are family members. There are family members who are crying as we speak. There are family members whose hearts are broken. There's no words that anybody shouting can come up here and do anything.
And are we the baddies?
Get him out of here! Get him the hell out of here! Then cuts to the audience beating the shit out of him, fucking ripping his jacket off. Throw him out in the cold. Don't give him his jacket.
Senator Susan Collins described the shooting as an unbelievably tragic and horrible crime, and she expressed support for red flag laws that help restrict potentially violent individuals from accessing firearms. Senator Ted Cruz, oh fucking boy, what's that turd got to say, called the shooting yet another act of evil and mass murder. It sure is. He offered his prayers to the families and children affected by the shooting, and he said that the country has seen too many of these shootings. Senator Ron Johnson reacted by blaming school shootings in the U.S. on wokeness, CRT, critical race theory, and liberal indoctrination. Fucking what? Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said that his message for grieving families in Uvalde was, "I believe God always has a plan. Life is short no matter what it is, and certainly we're not going to make sense of the killing of children." Alright, dude. Partly based on a rumor started by an anonymous user on the poll image board on 4chan, Representative Paul Gosar made unsubstantiated claims on Twitter the day after the shooting that the perpetrator was a transsexual, leftist, illegal alien. OMG, it's me.
I'm gonna give you some terrible thrill, like a science fiction double feature.
Now, Miko, obviously we've all seen the pictures of the supposed Uvalde shooter as a transgender, and information has been coming out alleging that the person, the shooter, the killer, is transgender. You're saying that's not true. Tell me about that.
Well, what's happening here lately, transgender people have been the scapegoats for a lot of buffoonery. Mm-hmm. And what actually happened is, the past mass shootings that have happened have been, perpetrated by young white racist men against black folks. Well, this one just happened to be done by a young Latino guy and in a predominantly Mexican area. And so this is a chance for the right-wing, conservatives to make this about a liberal issue. And what they've done is they've tacked on everything liberal they could find. They called him, this is another Mexican illegal, and transgender too. What they've done is...
And we had a person on our show just last night who said that, and we're going to play that right now.
You vote Democrat, they're all about pushing the gay agenda. That's what this guy is. He's putting on eyeliner. The Democrats are wanting to teach our students how to be confused. The Democrats are pushing illegal aliens coming over here. This guy's an illegal alien. So you reap what you sow.
So there was that guess alleging that it was a transgender and that it was an illegal. And of course, that was him saying it was the agenda of the Democrats who did that. Now, how hurtful is this to the transgender community, labeling someone who's labeling someone as transgender who committed such a horrible crime who's not actually transgender?
Well, first of all, to be clear, for those of you in the audience, this person, the pictures of the transgender woman they put up there, was not the shooter. This was someone who doesn't even live in Texas. This was a young lady who doesn't even live in Texas. The trolls on the internet, liberal, conservative trolls got on there and made this about a transgender thing. This is not the first time this has happened to us. There is, recently in New Jersey, they passed a law in jail systems where if you consider yourself transgender, you're now able to be housed in the female facility. A young straight man took advantage of that, said he was transgender, got locked up with the females and started getting them pregnant. Then the whole world said, ooh, look, that's what transgender people do. Mm-hmm. When Dave Chappelle made that issue about, made the comments about transgender people in his act, and then the other day he was attacked on stage. The first thing he said was, oh, it must have been a trans man. Even though it was a joke, the whole world took that and said, ooh, look, that was a trans man. That's what trans people do. Mm-hmm. They take everything negative they can find about us and they blow it up because they feel like we're getting more rights than we should. They feel like we're getting more leeway than we should, mm-hmm. which is ridiculous because we live in a country where people are always fighting for their rights. Black folks, gay folks, Mexican folks, we always fighting for our rights. And it's like, we're not allowed to fight for our rights. We're not allowed to have rights. We're not allowed to exist. So the worst thing you can be is transgender. So that's what, and now mind you, all of this is to distract from the fact that this was a young 18-year-old boy who could neither buy tobacco, cigarettes, or alcohol, but was able to go purchase 2 automatic weapons to kill people. as were the rest of these young men. All of this, saying he's transgender, is to distract from that.
The tweet was taken down within 2 hours. The false claims were further spread by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of fucking course.
We have the men invading our sports. They're invading our locker rooms, our playing fields, and our traditions. It's time to grow the boys and the men out. You'll hear from real panels where female athletes will be discussing the trials and tribulations, the invasion of privacy, and the sheer disrespect of men who want to pretend like they're women. I'll be on the panel too. I'm a former athlete. I'm also a mom of a former D1 collegiate athlete. Join us at 1 o'clock. Remember, speaker.gov/live.
Texas has become the 18th state in the country to restrict transgender minors from accessing puberty blockers and hormone therapies. Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 14 into law yesterday. The new law goes into effect on September 1st, but it could face some legal challenges before that.
Abbott has gone to new lows in the Republican culture war. In this case, basically going after both transgender children and their parents. So this is a new directive, essentially taking things one step further in making life difficult for transgender children and persecuting them, essentially, and their parents. So here is what was released by the governor's office and also by the Office of the Attorney General. They have confirmed in the enclosed opinion that a number of so-called sex change procedures constitute child abuse under existing Texas law. Because the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is responsible for protecting children from abuse, I hereby direct your agency to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation of any reported instances of these abusive procedures in the state of Texas. The letter continues to say that it is already against the law to subject Texas children to a wide variety of elective procedures for gender transitioning, including reassignment surgeries that can cause sterilization, mastectomies, removals of otherwise healthy body parts, and administration of puberty-blocking drugs or superphysiologic doses of testosterone or estrogen. The GOP, because they're useless and have failed to do anything or provide anything that would actually benefit the lives of their own voters, they just they fearmonger, they make up issues that are not really issues. And while it's manufactured, it does end up having real consequences for innocent people who should not have their lives completely destroyed and impacted by these goons who are just posturing because they have nothing else to offer their voters. That's what's going on.
With gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's school policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states and go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare.
And other far-right House Republicans and conservative media figures and social media users, despite authorities identifying Ramos as an American citizen. Not a trans. I'm sorry. Y'all will have to wait another year for that. Internationally, the shooting was condemned by various governments and politicians, including the government of Mexico, which said it was working with American authorities to identify Mexican victims. Mexican consul Ismael Navarra responded by going to Uvalde on the day of the shooting. Mexico said it was providing consular assistance for Mexican nationals. President Andres Manuel López Obrador commented on the Hispanic origin of the majority of the victims, noting, "Just look at the surnames. They are children, grandchildren of Mexicans. It hurts us a lot." President Biden delivered a speech on the shooting and asked, "When in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby?" His lack of a concrete plan attracted controversy from gun control activists. In a speech given on the night of the shooting, Vice President Kamala Harris reacted to the shooting by calling for policy changes to prevent similar shootings. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called for the U.S. to pass stricter gun control measures, and he urged Republican members of Congress to resist influence from the National Rifle Association of America, a gun rights lobby that have long been blamed for U.S. lawmakers' resistance to supporting gun control. Good luck on that. That's where they get all the money. Top Texas Republican officials, such as Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Texas House Speaker Dade Fallon of Beaumont, Attorney General Ken Paxton, Representative Tony Gonzalez of San Antonio, and Senators Cornyn and Cruz resisted the possibility of more comprehensive gun control measures. Abbott said that tougher gun regulations were not a real solution. Yeah, you gonna elaborate on that, buddy? Instead of gun control, many Senate Republicans called for increasing security presence in schools, limiting entryways into schools, and arming teachers and other school officials. God damn, let's just make life shittier than it already is. Republican Senator Ron Johnson promoted the Luke and Alex Safety Act, a bill to create a national database of school safety practices, but was silent on whether he was receding from his long-standing opposition to universal background checks. Johnson's move to advance his bill by unanimous consent was blocked, with Schumer saying that the Senate was going to vote on gun legislation through consideration of the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act, and that Johnson's proposal could be considered as part of the process. Senator Cruz said that some politicians would politicize the shooting to push for stricter gun reforms. Users on social media accused Cruz of hypocrisy for accepting money from gun interest groups and for planning to speak at the NRA's annual meeting being held in Houston with Abbott and Cornyn. The NRA-ILA's annual leadership forum on May 27th in Houston drew heavy criticism in light of the recent shooting. Former President Donald Trump, Governors Kristi Noem and Greg Abbott, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, and Representative Darren Crenshaw were previously scheduled to give remarks. Cornyn and Crenshaw subsequently canceled their attendances, and Abbott announced that he would instead appear at a news conference in Uvalde and send pre-recorded remarks to the NRA convention. Daniel Defense, the manufacturer of a firearm used in the shooting, decided not to attend. At the event, Trump and other Republicans rejected gun reforms, with Senator Cruz blaming mass shootings in the U.S. on a cultural sickness based on fatherless children and an alleged link between violence and video games. Oh, he said it. He said the magic word. He said the magic word. Ah! And advocated for arming teachers and redesigning schools to have only one entrance and exit. Jesus Christ, what if there is a fired head? What if there's a fucking fire? Ted, Theodore, I think blocking a fire exit and endangering the lives of children.
Be unwise at this juncture in your career, sir.
All right, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get out of here.
Gun safety advocacy groups such as Moms Demand Action and March for Our Lives, as well as local teachers unions, Black Lives Matter chapters, the Harris County Democratic Party, and Beto O'Rourke protested outside the convention. Gun manufacturer Daniel Defense was met with social media criticism in the wake of the shooting, including criticism of a since-deleted Twitter post made on May 16th depicting a child holding a Daniel Defense rifle, causing the company to make many of its social media accounts private. Jesus. Manuel Oliver, a gun control activist and the father of a Stoneman Douglas high school shooting victim, issued a statement expressing his outrage and said that the families of the victims do not need the thoughts and prayers of politicians. Instead, they need their kids. Several families of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victims spoke out, with several calling for stricter gun control. Fred Gutenberg, whose daughter was killed during the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, also called for politicians to enact stricter gun control and expressed support for the families of Robb Elementary School victims. On June 11th, March for Our Lives protests were held across the United States. On June 6th, the state of New York passed a new law raising the age from 18 to 21 for people to be able to buy semi-automatic weapons. On June 2nd, the United States House Committee on the Judiciary proposed the Protecting Our Kids Act. The bill notably excludes an assault weapons ban, but includes other measures, such as banning those under 21 from purchasing semi-automatic rifles and the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of high-capacity magazines, requiring bump stocks to be registered under the National Firearms Act, and banning them for civilian use. It also redefines receiver blanks to require background checks on all sales, strengthens federal offenses for gun trafficking and straw purchases, creates a compensated buyback program between local governments and individuals surrendering such magazines, along with a new tax credit for the sale of safe storage devices at home, and penalizes violations of new safe storage requirements on residences. The House later passed the bill, though it is unlikely to pass the Senate. The International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Fraternal Order of Police wrote to congressional leadership offering to help work on gun measures. On June 23rd, the Senate passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act with bipartisan support and a 65-33 vote. 15 Senate Republicans voted to support it. On June 24th, the House of Representatives passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act with bipartisan support and a 234 to 193 vote. House Republican leaders opposed the bill and called for other House Republicans to similarly oppose, but 14 House Republicans still voted to support. On June 25th, President Joe Biden signed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act into law. It was the most significant federal gun reform legislation in almost 30 years, citing the Brady Bill of 1993 and the since-expired federal assault weapons ban in 1994.
You heard it after Columbine. You heard it after Parkland. You heard it after Virginia Tech. You heard it after Sandy Hook. You heard it after El Paso. You heard it after Buffalo. You kept hearing that Wayne LaPierre isn't doing enough, and frankly, that's not true. The NRA, under Wayne LaPierre's leadership, has provided thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families. And maybe these mass shootings would stop happening if we all thought a little bit more and we prayed a little bit more. So I'm asking everyone in this room to think, to pray. Give your thoughts and your prayers and your thoughts and your prayers and your prayers and your thoughts. And if we give enough of these thoughts and these prayers, these mass shootings will stop. So I want to thank you, Wayne LaPierre, for all your thoughts and all your prayers. Thank you.
Cheer, Ricky.
Multiple memorials were held in Uvalde and across Texas in commemoration for the victims for the one-year anniversary of the shooting on May 24th, 2023. Survivors, family members, and supporters gathered for events such as a 77-minute vigil, the amount of time waited outside the classroom by authorities, candlelight vigils, butterfly release, and mariachi performances. President Biden spoke about the anniversary at the White House with 21 candles at the base of the White House grand staircase, and spoke about his frustration at a lack of change in gun policy. Similar frustration was echoed by survivors and family members who waited for investigations and legal cases to finish and policy to change, and many of these topics have caused anger and strife to be seen throughout Uvalde.
This is entitled El Corrido de los Ángeles de Uvalde. Los árboles de Uvalde se doblan con el viento, y cuando esas ramas se quiebran, en mi corazón lo siento.
Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to sing this corrido about the tragedy that happened in Uvalde, Texas. On May 24th in the year 2022,
it's part of the Mexican, the Hispanic culture, because when a tragedy does happen, the first thing we do is that we unite. That's the first thing that we do. Then the next thing that we do is we start sharing stories. Music does heal. Un monstruo perturbado llegó a la oscuridad.
Songs are stories, ballads that we've told, and this is how generations have maintained historical documentation through song. Corridos do that. Corridos are so specific. They can record massacres, train accidents. We always come together. Together we heal and overcome. So let us say our prayers for the familias, for the brave teachers, and for the angels of Uvalde.
Los ángeles de Uvalde ahora vuelan por el cielo, y cuando ellos me hablan, en mi corazón lo siento. Gracias.
It's a real pretty song. It's called the Texas River Song. It's an old folk song. Well, we crossed the wide Pecos, and we forded the new Oasis, and we swam the Guadalupe, and we followed the Brazos. Red River runs rusty, and the Wichita clear. And down on the Brazos I courted my dear. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. Oh, the Trinity's muddy and the Brazos quicksand. Well, the fair Angelina runs glossy and gliding, and the crooked Colorado runs weaving and winding. The slow San Antonio courses the plains, but I never will walk by the Brazos again. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. La 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 lee, lend me your hand. Oh, the Trinity's muddy and the Brazos quicksand. Well, the girls of Little River, They're plump and they're pretty. The Sabine and the Sulphur have plenty of beauties on the banks of the Natchez. There's girls by the score, but I never will walk by the Brazos no more. La la la.
Like something's always missing. There's always one less plate that I make at dinner. There's always one less child that I wake up for school. I used to say, yeah, calm down, there's so many of you. And now when it's quiet, it's just, I would give anything to have that noise back. I mean, anything.
I'm always constantly doing something, trying to help, trying to work. But there are times when you're sitting there trying to even watch a movie, and then you break. Completely break down until you're a blubbering mess on the floor. You don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to live. You're not suicidal, but you don't want to be here because it hurts that much.
We go somewhere, or if we can go to the store or something, and he says he wants something for his tither, because he calls her tither, I let him. Because he loves her and he doesn't know any different. He still thinks that she's gonna come. So whatever he wants to get for her, we get it. We'll always be stuck on the 24th, no matter what year it is. We'll always be stuck on the 24th. like everybody's lives, 21 families' lives, like literally stopped that day.
All you can still see is just, it's by Lexi, and I love my mom, but it's something she drew, and it's me and her, and I love that I get to see how she saw me. As a mom and as a daughter, I know how much my mom loves me, but my daughter wasn't given a chance to have children. So I kind of feel like, did she really, really grasp just the unconditional, overwhelming love I have for you? I just hope it was enough. So the reminder is needed.
The American flag upside down with the sounds of children screaming have been removed. And that resonated with me because, the gunshots were still there. Everything that ended their lives was there, but their life wasn't. It was removed. And it's not just their screams were removed, their voices, their laughter, their presence, it's all been removed from this, mortal plane. That's what Uzi was left with, a bullet hole into the spine. Imagine that bullet went straight through his spine and tore out his stomach. We need visualizations. And like I said, without actively showing or dropping the actual photos, you can see it on me, and you can see what it looks like on a 220-pound grown man. Now imagine that on a 10-year-old that weighed 65, 70 pounds maybe. He was tiny. And if that looks like that on me, imagine what that looked like on him. Imagine what that looks like on your child.
Take me down, little Susie, take me down. I know you think you're the queen of the underground. Send me dead flowers every morning. Send me dead flowers by the mail. Send me dead flowers to my wedding. And I won't forget to put roses on your grave. No, I won't forget to put roses on your grave.